Hey guys, so I'm back. So as you can see, this is my drawing that I did. And then I just did one wash and I used a combination of coffee and tea. I've let it dry. And notice also that I've taped my paper. I taped my paper because it keeps the paper flat and your watercolor paper will curl. So now what I was thinking of doing was just adding little bits of colors, really just to my background, because I'm going to use color pencils on top of my leaves. So I'm using my brush again, and I'm dipping it in the red wine because I really like the way that that red kind of looked, and I'm focusing more on the background. And sometimes it's hard to tell where the background is. And let's say you did something and you don't like it, you can always just press down on it and it picks up the color, which is kind of neat. Looks like it picked up the tea as well. But then I'm kind of adding it and dragging it out a little bit. So it's like there's like little bits of red that are kind of being dragged, or burgundy I should say, dragged away. Now, the reason this isn't bleeding into all of the other shapes that I've created is because they've dried. If your paper was wet, this paint would bleed into other colors or into other areas. So that's something to remember. All right, here's a couple more shapes or negative spaces, because this is clearly a leaf, that's a leaf. And you know what, I'm gonna start adding little bits of, and now my liquids have definitely cooled. So like my coffee and my tea were warm when I did my first demo, but now they are definitely cold, and they're still very effective. All right, so I'm kind of, and at this point, I want to show you guys. So this is, I believe, the coffee, and this is, or I can't even tell which one's which anymore because they both look kind of dark. But either way, I'm happy with both colors, so I'm not too concerned. But I have all of them kind of right here, ready to go. All right. What is going on here? Hold on. All right. Okay. So I'm just darkening up my background a little bit, making it more fall-like, which is really fun. And these colors work really well together. They're all very earthy. So I'm blending one into the other, and I'm not really too worried about what they're gonna end up looking like together. So I'm kind of dipping into all of my colors here. I know the one that really stands out is the wine because it's the only one that gives you a reddish hue. But just gonna let it dry for a second. And you can kind of start seeing these leaves pop out, and they're gonna pop even more. I gotta think about this. That's a leaf, so it's this area here. That's my negative space. And you know what? If you mess up and you paint inside of a leaf instead of your negative space, that's totally fine, because once you go over with color pencil, the color pencil is definitely gonna be more dominant than what you're doing right here. So you get the idea. I'm basically going over all of these areas. And then once I'm done with that, I'm gonna go in with my color pencils, and I'm gonna look at my original picture and figure out what colors were being represented in the leaves. Again, I want everything to be totally dry, because if you try to use the color pencils on top of wet paper, you're gonna destroy your paper. So that's what we got going on today. And if you get finished with this, we'll move in to working with the color pencil.